Hello, hello, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. I was not supposed to go live, but I just said it's hard for me to sleep. And I figure, why not go live and see if I hopefully do get tired. So, with that being said, I'm going to go into this Maga Civil War. Let's get it.
Say goodbye to cold hands in winter. With our thermal gloves, you are ready for the cold season. They protect you 100% from wind and rain. They are softly lined. Get ready. Y'all get ready. Yes, you get ready.
And shout out to Lover T for this.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity, so tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovely Tea TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovely Tea TV show. Be sure to share.
Tucker Carlson, Nick
Alright, hello.
And so a lot of people are responding now. Candace responded that same day, so we're going to watch more of her response. Other people on TikTok are also responding. Some people are agreeing with Ben Shapiro for calling out Candace Owens. Other people are not agreeing with him. But also Megyn Kelly, Steve Bannon, they have also spoken out and called out Ben Shapiro as well. So we're going to go ahead and watch these responses right now.
Guys, I was so proud of Ben Shapiro's speech tonight at AmFest.
Erica Kirk and TPUSA never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Yes, cowardice. The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense
Go ahead, Ben.
for years is just as cowardly.
He went all in on Candace Owens. He didn't mince words. He didn't mince names. Well, he did mince one name, but it was still like people knew who he was talking about, because he said, if you have not called out Candace Owens by now, you are basically a coward. And he said some of which are speaking here tonight. And we all know that's Tucker Carlson. We all know that's Megyn Kelly. And so he didn't call out their names, but like he heavily insinuated it. And I'm just so proud of him. And the thing is, like, you already know Candace is going to be narcissistically wounded. And as a matter of fact, she's already now insisting that Ben Shapiro is now complicit in Charlie Kirk's murder. Like, already, she's already made a tweet about that because she's so narcissistically wounded. But it had to be done. It had to be said. And I'm so glad that Turning Point allowed people to just go all in. And not hold back anymore. So I don't know how Erica Kirk's conversation went with Candace, but apparently she, like, all the gloves are off, because she also made a joke about Egyptian planes on it, you know. So I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I've been super busy, but I just wanted to be, see if y'all saw that too.
So this right here is Officer Tatum, a.k.a. Officer Talmud. I've been calling him that for months now because of his close relationship with Israel and defending them with the cape at every chance he gets.
This jackass.
So he has a little bit to say about what Ben Shapiro said at Turning Point USA.
So man, hell,
fuck Tatum. Of what he has to say.
Ben Shapiro says, which means that he may have called out somebody you like. At least I can respect the fact that Ben Shapiro said what he felt needed to be said. And everybody else had their chance. And some people just didn't do a good job at it. Let's roll some of the highlights from Ben Shapiro's speech. We're going to get to a couple other people's speeches as well, and I'm going to talk about it. Roll the clip.
If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it.
Only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working.
Because she's so shocked that he said that she was a coward for doing it. He told her on her show, on stage, that you can't just not say nothing about what Tucker Carlson. There's no excuse that that's your friend to not disagree with them. As you guys all know, Candace is my friend, but I disagree with her. I call out everything that she said about Turning Point being involved in everything. I disagree with it. I think to me, it is nonsensical to think that Turning Point, with no evidence, has something to do with Charlie's death or covering up his death. I see those guys. I meet those guys. I've been knowing them for years. I think it's nonsensical. The hatred towards Israel and the things that Candace has said about Israel, I disagree with. But she's still my friend.
Here he go. APAC Shakur got out his cake. Da-na-na-na-na-na. APAC Shakur's in the house. APAC Shakur's in the house.
Damn, calling him APAC Shakur.
Okay. Let's go ahead and
Damn. She ain't give no fuck.
The same thing with Megyn Kelly. The problem that Ben has with Megyn Kelly, that I also disagree with Megyn Kelly, is that you don't have to say, I don't like Tucker Carlson. You don't have to say that. I don't say that about Candace. But if Tucker Carlson interviews Nick Fuentes and literally sniffs his butt the whole time, you can at least say, I don't like the Tucker Carlson interview with Nick Fuentes. I love Tucker, but I don't like the interview. I don't think it's right. Just like when Candace says things that I disagree with, I don't have to go out of my way to say, Candace Owens said this, Candace Owens said that. I don't need to go out of my way to say that. But I do have an obligation as a functioning adult with a platform that if she says something I disagree with, and it's not my opinion, then I need to express what my opinions are and what are the things that I disagree with. I don't understand how people don't understand that. If my dad...
Well, sir, we don't understand how you said that you would never cry if your daddy died, but then broke down in tears when Charlie Kirk died. I don't understand that.
Right.
Really?
I just wouldn't.
What if your kid died?
That's a different thing. I mean, I would try not to cry for my wife. Everything is going south. I want my wife to know I'm strong in that situation, and I can be. I don't have to cry. So I heard a guy say this. He said, when my father passes away, which everybody's parent is going to pass away, I'm not going to cry at his funeral. I don't want to cry at his funeral. I want my father to know that I'm strong enough. Okay.
Wait. You won't cry in front of your wife, but you'll cry in front of millions of people for Charlie Kirk? Nigga, are you okay? That doesn't even make any sense.
How are you not more emotional for your father, okay, than for Charlie Kirk? Well, let's go. Let's move on. I don't want to hear anything else from Officer Talmud. So now we're going to watch Megyn Kelly's response to what Ben Shapiro said about her right now.
Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement, which shows a willful blindness about his position in it. I resent the whole thing. I object to the whole thing. Ben and I, he had the nerve to call me a friend right before he called me a despicable coward for not calling.
Tap screen, please.
So he both wants to parent me and be my child. He wants to tell me what I have to do and who I have to say what to. And then when I don't, he and some of his friends want to act like utter victims because I won't do what they say. They need me. I have to be their daddy and step in to protect them. And I am not their daddy. And I resent that he thinks he's in a position to decide who must say what to whom and when. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we are friends anymore. The next thing I saw was him attacking me on stage last night as a coward. So that's not friendship. And I think that's fine with me, with friends like that. Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide.
Now, one thing I will say about Megyn, I do like the fact that she addressed him head on stage at Turning Point USA. Tucker to me was kind of scary with it. He threw little dog whistles, but he didn't.
Yeah, Tucker was pussified with
So I
it.
do like that, that she did do that and she didn't back down. So funny enough, Steve Bannon was also there. Now his name wasn't mentioned, but Steve Bannon decided to, put himself into the beef. So we're going to hear what Steve Bannon had to say as well.
Now, Benji Shapiro sat up here last night, and he was all, it's all about the truth.
Something I noticed with Steve Bannon? Y'all know that Steve Bannon and Rosie O'Donnell could almost pass for twins? No. I'm dead serious. Steve Bannon and Rosie O'Donnell could damn near pass for twins.
Ben, I've known you a long time, brother. You can't handle the truth. Let's face it, Ben Shapiro is the farthest thing from MAGA. Let's be blunt. He is a hardcore never Trumper. He's a hardcore never Trumper. In the spring of 16, he tried to upend Breitbart. He walked off the job, made a big deal about some incident in Mar-a-Lago with Corey Lewandowski. He tried to turn it to Ted Cruz from Donald Trump because he hated Donald Trump. In the general election, he barely supported Donald Trump. The first sign of when President Trump gets sent back to Mar-a-Lago, the very first individual that jumped on the Ron DeSantis train, the Israel First train, was Ben Shapiro. And those are the darkest days we had. In 21 and 22, you guys were there. He's consistently been against Trump, and now that President Trump doesn't back the Greater Israel Project. What is Greater Israel? It's not about Israel itself. It's about an expansionist Israel, an imperial Israel that Netanyahu and that crowd have thought up. And the Israel First crowd is Ben Shapiro, Tel Aviv Mark Levin, and many others.
Go talk about it.
Ahead of America's interests.
Normally, I can't stand Steve Bannon. But Steve Bannon told nothing but the damn truth right here. He told nothing but the motherfucking truth right here.
Charlie Kirk fought that. You know where Charlie Kirk fought it? In the White House. I know, because I was there. When I went back, Charlie Kirk was working with Sergio Gore. Now, Ben...
So as you see, the beef that's going on in the right is getting very deep. And a lot of this is behind Israel and other things. But Steve Bannon has made his stance known. So now we're going to listen to bits and pieces of Candace Owens responding back to Ben Shapiro, because a lot of her clips have gone viral since her responding the other day back to what Ben Shapiro said about her on stage.
Shapiro just keeps calling my name out on stage. He's calling for me, and I'd like to show up for him today. Okay, last night he hit the stage at Turning Point USA.
Oh, boy. Y'all need to hear this. Because Candace goes in on Ben Shapiro.
AmFest the other night. And I'd like, first and foremost, just to let you all know, some people noticed that he wasn't on the AmFest list for years, and all of a sudden he's back on the speaker list beginning in 2024. I want to let you know how that actually happened. So the story goes, obviously, that in 2024, Ben fired me in March. Well, yeah, he would say management fired me. But firing me wasn't enough. He wanted to make sure my reputation and livelihood was also destroyed. Of course, what happened thereafter is Charlie Kirk instantly came out and supported me, because we were like brother and sister, always supporting each other publicly. And then I showed you guys a few episodes ago that we found out as I was going to speak in Dallas at their YWLS convention that Ben had sent an intern who was going to ask me a question while I was on stage, but we sort of rumbled this plan, and I called Ben out on stage. Ben did not like that I called him out on stage, so he began working behind the scenes to have Jewish donors start threatening Charlie to make sure that I wasn't invited to speak at year-end because I was an anti-Semite. This is what Charlie told me. And instead, he wanted to be invited. So he's just going to purchase a friendship, right? So he comes at Turning Point USA, and this is what was divulged to me from Andrew Colvett at the time, willing to spend an offensive amount of money to be a part of AmFest. Like I said, that was told to me by Andrew Colvett directly because he wanted to say, look, obviously, we are totally, Charlie's 100% on your side. This is like an offensive ad spend. I was like, take his money. I could care less, obviously. And I knew that he was working with Barry Weiss to call and put an article out saying that.
Now I got to stop there. Barry Weiss is the current editor-in-chief at CBS News. Every bit of news that goes out of CBS News currently is by that Charlie Weiss person.
The donors, the people on the board of TPUSA want Candace gone. All of this petty, behind-the-scenes behavior because I called him out on stage. Okay. So quite literally, this is the definition of buying friends and influence and fame. Now, in case you're listening and thinking, is Ben Shapiro actually capable of that level of pettiness? I'm going to tell you a story about Thomas Sowell. Yes, Dr. Thomas Sowell of Stanford. The story begins in 2023, shortly after October 7th. Ben was sort of having another one of his open nervous breakdowns, and his audience just went kaput. People just stopped watching his podcast because he was screaming at Americans that we needed to prioritize Israel, and people just didn't feel that way. Okay, it's not our country. I'm sorry that happened to you, but why do Americans need to be screamed at about what's happening in the Middle East? Anyways,
what happened to America first?
Brian Mast was wearing an IDF uniform in Congress, and he basically said that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian life. And when I saw this, as shared by Yashar Ali on X, he then had some private event, probably at another Jewish donor's house, and somebody caught him standing on a table insulting me over my genocide is always wrong tweet. Take a listen to what Ben had to say.
And then the question is about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this is disgraceful. I think that her sophistication on these particular issues.
Tap the screen, please. Please tap the screen.
Disreputable, disgraceful. She works at my company. You can imagine that the internet went crazy because they wanted me to respond to him. I can't believe this. They work together. They're colleagues. Somehow this gets leaked. And I want to mention, because it's very relevant, that was on the morning of November 14th. I was 6 days away from giving birth. I was very heavily pregnant. Anyways, I wake up to this, and shockingly, nobody from the Daily Wire steps in to manage the situation. And as you can imagine, virtually every journalist, every person with a media platform was contacting me to comment, to respond to me being insulted by someone. I'm about to give birth. I'm being insulted, and they're not getting anything from the Daily Wire. So I am obviously frustrated. I should also tell you, I had no PR at this time. My PR was the internal PR at the Daily Wire. And it was very clear that their focus was on protecting Ben, even though he was the one who insulted me publicly. Because I said that genocide is always wrong. That is the genesis of that statement. That's all I said. Obviously, I wanted to respond angrily to the press. I wanted to hit back at Ben. And I guess you could sort of say my perspective was an eye for an eye. But my husband, was a better person than me, instructed me that morning to instead take a deep breath, relax, okay? Don't think about what you're feeling in the moment, but think about how you're going to feel in the future. And he instructed me to instead read the Bible, the Sermon on the Mount. And I read through it, and he reminds me that everybody who wants to comment, they don't care about me either, right? They're selling.
I don't know, but I know that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying, what is happening? Why is he on this stage? Standing against everything that Charlie believed in. That's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in. Because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. Look at you, and I just think you are such a little worm. I can see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? And we're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction and every word that I don't like and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Barith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them. For years. You fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us.
Now, what's very interesting about this is, I had said this before, that her whole grift with this whole Charlie Kirk conspiracy, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of this because Charlie Kirk...
Yeah, it is a grift.
And I said there's more to it.
Whether people like it or not.
There's a money aspect to it. The countless amount of money that she's been making off of YouTube, Spotify, Apple, social media platforms, plus people, her donors and everything else, people sending money to her. She's made millions off of this whole pushing this conspiracy.
Good old money.
Because there are some financial issues going on behind the scenes. She's dealing with the lawsuit from the French government, but as she's saying here, that Ben Shapiro is also constantly suing her. And regardless of these are legitimate lawsuits or frivolous lawsuits, it still costs money to have to deal with lawsuits. And a lot of people will file frivolous lawsuits just to try and bury you financially. And who knows if her husband is really wanting to help out, if he, wants to be bothered with this, or if this is, her own situation, so she has to figure it out using her own money. But I definitely believe that that is also playing a part into why she keeps toting this conspiracy and why she's still trying to dig into the thick of it, is because she's also being hit with lawsuits by Ben Shapiro. Another thing I find very interesting is she's saying that Ben Shapiro is racist. He doesn't like white men and he does not like black people. He thinks that black people are beneath them, they should be sued, they should be slaves, and whatever else she was saying.
Well, some scientists do have that ideology. No offense.
4 years. And he loved when you were punching down on your own. But then once you guys fell off, now you want to expose him as
talk about it.
So to me, that comes off as very disingenuous.
Yep, it does.
Deep down inside, that he had a particular vendetta. He did not like black people. He made his whole platform on talking down to the black community, but you didn't care because you were trying to...
Bottom line, Ben Shapiro is no better than Nick Fuentes.
Elevate yourself. You were willing to sign a deal with the devil in order to make yourself bigger. And now those chickens are coming home to roost. So to me, Candace is not a victim in all of this either. So let's finish listening to what else she has to say.
That they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population.
And the way I'm hearing it, Charlie Kirk didn't fool with Ben Shapiro. He didn't even fool with Nick for that matter, or Andrew Tate. But apparently, the three people I just named are somewhat friendly. Why? I don't know.
Thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye.
Bye.
The question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart?
Come on. Seriously, I got a damn restriction.
It's one of these belly creatures.
You son of a bitch.
The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant? It's an open-ended question. Of course.
Hell with it. I'm still gonna record. Fuck that shit.
All right, so y'all just heard her rant. You know, she went in, but like I said, to me, she's no victim, because I can find old clips of when, you know, she's saying things about the black community and affirmative action, and Ben is playing it on her show, and he's enjoying it. He's loving it. They loved using Candace as their talking point. She was supposed to be the I have black friends too token.
Bullshit.
And now that those tokens are spent, you're seeing the fracture in the right. You're seeing all these people pointing fingers at each other, but they're all one and the same.
Yeah, they are.
What am I supposed to mark on an application? Am I supposed to mark multiple boxes as excellent thing?
Well, it's the truth because you believe in affirmative action. So I said mark black. I have a son that's half white and a son that's half black and a daughter that's half white and half black. They're going to mark black because I know that there are people like you at the universities who will say, well, because this person is black, I'm just going to let them in. It's just racism if you're judging people on the basis of their skin color.
That's Candace at her best right there. That is solid stuff.
See that? He's agreeing with everything she says. That's Candace at her best right there. That's solid stuff. But once Candace started questioning his community, he had the little town hall meeting at somebody's home and was saying that she was disrespectful for speaking against Israel. He was going in on her. But he loved it any time she was punching down on her own community. And that is where Candace Owens has to take responsibility for a lot of the bullshit that she helped to spew and she helped to spiral and uplift and give a platform to on the Daily Wire. So like I said, to me, it looks like the chickens are coming home to roost for all these folks. What do you guys feel about what Ben Shapiro had to say about all the parties involved at Turning Point USA? How do you guys feel about Megyn Kelly's response? How do you feel about Candace Owens' response? And also Steve Bannon jumping in there and calling out, you know, Israel and calling out Ben Shapiro as well. I look forward to reading y'all's comments down below. Please hit this video with a like. Feel free to share the video. And I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovely Tea TV Show. Bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovely Tea TV Show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Shop the holiday.
Get ready. Y'all get ready.
Yes, you get ready.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovely Tea TV Show. Bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovely Tea TV Show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Hey Tea Sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. So I also wanted to come on here and talk about some more drama that went on at Turning Point USA. There's been more drama at this event than even in hip hop. Like the beefs that came out of this 4-day event are crazy. So if you guys do not know, our Vice President J.D. Vance also spoke. And during his speech, he threw shots at Gavin Newsom, Jasmine Crockett, and then he also talked about American you know, not being ashamed to be white. But it was very interesting that he made no reference to Usha Vance and the disrespect that she got from Nick Fuentes. He didn't speak on that at all, but he did throw some shade at Ben Shapiro as well, where he talked about, you know, cancel culture and not canceling other people, you know, in the right wing. But what was very interesting is that Vivek Ramaswamy got up there and he threw shade at J.D. Vance and took up more for Usha Vance than J.D. Vance even did for his wife. And the issue that Vivek Ramaswamy is facing is that a lot of people on the right feel like, you know what, he's just an Indian, he's doing too much, and that he's not a real American. So he went on stage and gave this 15-minute speech about how that's not right, and he's just as American as apple pie, and a lot of people are dragging him for this speech on X. So we're going to go ahead and watch what J.D. Vance had to say first, then we'll watch the video of Vivek Ramaswamy and what he had to say about the situation concerning, you know, America and concerning the conservative movement and how they see him and people like him. So in this first video, he throws shade at Ben Shapiro without saying his name, but we know who he's talking about.
I didn't bring a list of conservatives to denounce or to deplatform, and I don't really care if some people out there, I'm sure will have the fake news media, denounce me after this speech. But let me just say, the best way to honor Charlie is that none of us here should be doing something after Charlie's death that he himself refused to do in life. He invited all
Tap
of us.
screen, please. Tap screen.
So you catch the Ben Shapiro shade about deplatforming and denouncing and how he invited all of us here. So that's towards Ben Shapiro.
Charlie invited all of us here for a reason, because he believed that each of us, all of us, had something worth saying, and he trusted all of you to make your own judgment. And we have far more important work to do than canceling each other.
So now we're going to watch his speech where he goes in.
They were stripping my fucking live stream. Heck, man, look, fuck it, I'm still going to record. Fuck it.
1-year anniversary of the Trump administration, and I am damn proud of our record so far. Now, the Democrats are already talking about 2028, and it looks like they're going to nominate a California liberal who's presided. A California liberal who's presided over rolling blackouts, open borders, and unchecked violent gangs. They're just trying to settle on whether it's going to be Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. And in the meantime, what are the Democrats offering you in the meantime? I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, they are not sending their best. Omar Fateh was Ilhan Omar's candidate for mayor of Mogadishu. Minneapolis. Little Freudian slip there. The candidate for Senate in Maine for the Democrats calls me a Nazi, which is rich coming from a guy who literally has a Nazi tattoo on his chest. And Jasmine Crockett. Oh, Jasmine Crockett.
Uh-oh.
The record speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
She wants to be a senator, though her street girl persona is about as real as her nails.
Damn.
Let's keep it real. He really wanted to say her hair because she wears wigs and stuff like that. He really wanted to say her hair, but he knew if he said that, that'd be too overtly racist.
Yeah, that would have been racist.
Don't get it twisted, because Erica Kirk and all them bundles in the back of her head, she wears wigs and pieces too. But that's really what he wanted to say. This was all a dog whistle.
Yeah, it was.
But ask yourself, what do all of these people have in common? And the unfortunate answer is they are puppets. They don't actually matter. They are cogs in a machine that wants to make you poorer, that wants to make you less powerful, and wants to make you less safe in the country your ancestors built.
Objection. Black people built this country, asshole.
There's still so much important work to do, my friends. We're barely a year into this administration, not even a year into the administration. But I'm so proud of the accomplishments of the president and the entire administration. In just a year, we ended Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's border crisis. December marks 7 months straight of zero releases at the southern border. More than 2.5 million illegal immigrants have left the United States, the first time in over 50 years that we have had negative net migration, and it's just the start. When you restore sanity at the border, it shows up everywhere else. Rent prices are dropping 4 months in a row, and more native-born Americans are working than ever before. Kamala Harris opened the border and destroyed the economy. The Trump administration gave you net negative migration and much more job creation. Real wages are finally growing. Inflation is half of what it was under Democrats. Gas prices are their lowest in years. And we have finally made it clear that in the United States, we believe in hard work and merit. Unlike the left, we stand against treating anybody. And I love what Nikki said about this. We don't treat anybody different because of their race or their sex. So we have relegated DEI to the dustbin of history, which is exactly where it belongs. In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. And if you're an Asian, you don't have to talk around your skin color when you're applying for college, because we judge people based on who they are, not on ethnicity and things they can't control. We don't persecute you for being male, for being straight, for being gay, for being anything. The only thing that we demand is that you be a great American patriot, and if you're that, you are very much on our team.
So y'all just heard what he said. He basically quoted some of Nicki Minaj, you know, that it's okay to be white. And of course it's okay to be white. Nobody's saying that it's not okay to be white. But he's definitely sending dog whistles. But it's very interesting that he's talking about Asians and not having to, you know, worry about affirmative action in their skin color. But his wife is an Asian. But he did not denounce anything that Nick Fuentes or people on the right have been saying about her ethnicity. So that's where Vivek Ramaswamy took some shots. Now, Jasmine Crockett also responded to him today. So let's watch what Jasmine Crockett had to say really quick.
Conservative Crockett. Oh, Jasmine Crockett. The record speaks for itself. She wants to be a senator, though her street girl persona is about as real as her nails.
And Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is back here with us. So, Congresswoman, let's start right there. With the way that the Vice President speaks about you, the caricature he tried to make of you at this conservative youth conference, I think every Black woman heard what he was trying to say there. It's extra laughable in a way, because what precedes this moment is him coming out, you know, to an entire pyrotechnic show and rock music and fanfare for, you know, him to comment on your flair. But what do you think he's trying to say there? What do you think he's trying to signal at a conference like this to an audience like this?
Well, first of all, he's trying to rile up his base, because right now we know that no matter if we're looking in deep red Tennessee, Mississippi, or Georgia, we know that we're swinging no less than 10 points. And unlike what we've had historically in Texas, because I know that you talked about the Texas dream of turning us blue, is that we have a candidate in me who absolutely plans to talk to any and everybody, and that is why they are afraid. The fact that he said I have a quote-unquote street girl persona America. I'm sorry, but anybody that you talk to knows my credentials. They know that I've gone to school. They know that I'm educated. I never tried to put on some random.
Well, yeah, you educated, but yet you talk like a hood bitch. Make it make sense.
Story about where I came from, but at the end of the day, I am who I am, and I am authentic, and that is actually what they are fearful of, is my authenticity, because it rings true with every single American, whether they're a Texan or not. It rings true that I am fighting for real everyday people.
So being a sister girl is being true to yourself. Is that what you're telling me, Jasmine?
Because the only reason you're the vice president is because the current president tried to have his last president killed. Let's talk about qualifications. Let's talk about who has actually been fighting for people way before she ever ran for office, whether it was in the courtroom or if it was in the streets, making sure those that were out there wanting to exercise their constitutional right to come together and protest injustices. I was representing pro bono people that were getting arrested as they were out in the streets. So listen, I don't have time for him and their games. They are scared, and they should be scared. I need Texans to focus in. I need them to think about the fact that our 2 senators literally just voted against extending the Affordable Care Act tax subsidies that would help almost an additional almost 4 million people that are on the marketplace. In a state where we have 5 million that are completely uninsured, they basically are trying to put another 4 million people off of their insurance. And this is before we endure the cuts that are coming because of the big ugly bill, where we know 17 million people in this country are going to lose their health care. Listen, I'm staying focused. I'm not going to be distracted. And when they can tell me about their policies that are helping Texans, then we can have a conversation. Until then, take whatever shots you want to take at me, because I have been a black woman my entire life. I promise you, there are other people just like JD Vance who have tried to do the same racist tropes my entire life, and somehow I ascended and became a U.S. Congresswoman. It will not be different when I become a U.S. Senator, and we can have a conversation when I get to the Senate floor if he wants to talk. Congresswoman, I'm...
All right, honey. So y'all heard what Jasmine Crockett had to say. She was not here for the foolishness, and I'm glad she responded to him and said, you know, we got bigger fish to fry. We're not worried about his Turning Point USA speech. There are real issues facing Texans, and that's what I'm focused on. So kudos to her. So now let's go ahead and talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, because Vivek is definitely in his feelings. Because if you guys don't know, a lot of Christians have been confronting him when he goes to a lot of these conservative meetups and stuff like that. And Vivek has not been feeling it, because a lot of the right people feel like, you know what, you are not an American, you keep talking like you are, you're a Hindu, and that bothers a lot of them. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of these old videos of people confronting him about his faith, and then what he had to say at Turning Point USA.
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
Familiar with the 10 Commandments? You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. What's your faith?
I'm a Christian.
Follower of Jesus. Great. Do you believe in the Holy Trinity? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit?
I think a lot of people here do. So
good. And that doesn't make you a polytheist, does it?
Probably not, no.
Great. And so in my faith, I believe there's one true God. He resides in all of us, and he appears in different forms, but it's one true God. So I'm an ethical monotheist. That's the way I would describe my faith. Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
No, I think it's... No, well...
Be honest.
Isn't Hinduism...
because you're an Indian.
I can ask yourself that Hinduism believes in Shiva and, what is it, the flute
God, I forget. Like Krishna, who's you thinking of? Yeah, Krishna. But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And isn't the United States of America also, based on what Protestantism is, based on how those values are? Wouldn't that?
Some of this is also racial undertones. I have to point that out as well.
Contradict what your beliefs are.
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you any more than you are to me, but what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And I think that it's really important that we not reinvent the founding of this country and what it was actually all about.
It was embarrassing. Okay, and you can tell he's in his feelings. He has on his brightest, makeup, make himself look a little bit lighter. He's finding out you're not one of them. Okay, my Kendrick Lamar voice. You're not like us.
So hell,
they're telling you so many words.
Not like us. Not like us.
And it seems like he's been getting a lot more hate on social media, on X. People calling him out, calling out his faith, his ethnicity, and everything else. So he decided to take his time at Turning Point USA to address all of this racial drama. So we're going to go ahead and watch his speech at Turning Point right now.
Now, when I left my career as a biotech CEO and I was talking to people in Silicon Valley and Wall Street about this, that took courage. I'm going to admit it doesn't take that much courage for me to come here and tell you all about criticizing the woke left. Now let me get to the harder part. There's a different vision of American identity that's emergent in certain corridors of the online right. And it says that your identity as an American is based on your lineage. That how long you have been in the country, your lineage.
Sir, you're Hindu. What you're saying makes no sense.
The idea of a heritage American that says the truest form of an American is somebody who is a descendant of the American Revolution period or before. And I will tell you, this idea of the heritage American, we ought to have this discussion. It's becoming more popular. I think the idea of a heritage American is about as loony as anything the woke left has actually put up. There is no American who is more American than somebody else. The American quality, it's not like the left, they believe in this non-binary stuff. There's no non-binary American. It is binary. Either you're an American or you're not. And you think about it, I could prove this to you. Thank you. I'll take some applause on that.
Bro, you had to beg for applause.
If you really believe in this,
really, man?
They're not really applauding because they're not.
You are so damn pathetic.
Get his ass off the stage. That's why you're only hearing like 3 people applaud. He has to beg for applause because they don't agree.
Idea. Think about where it leads you. Leads you to believe,
dude. Them white folks don't fuck with you like that, man. Why can't you not understand that? Dude, you're an Indian in a white nationalist think tank. Them white folks ain't fucking with you. The hell's wrong with you?
That Donald Trump is less of an American than Joe Biden because Donald Trump's mother was an immigrant and his grandfather was an immigrant. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Leads you to believe that somehow Bernie Sanders is more of an American than Senator Bernie Moreno from my home state, an America First patriot, because Bernie Moreno was a naturalized citizen from Colombia. It makes you think that Marco Rubio, our great Secretary of State, is somehow less of an American than Elizabeth Warren because she's a Native American, which we all know, right? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but Marco Rubio's parents, if I remember correctly, are immigrants. So with that being said, whether y'all like it or not, Marco Rubio himself is an anchor baby.
It's loony. It's crazy talk. It makes you believe that somehow I am less of an American than the transgender criminal who assassinated Charlie Kirk. We refuse to accept that. The idea that a heritage American is any more American than another American is un-American at its core. And I will fight to the very end for that because that's what it means to be an American. We believe in ideals. That is who we are. What does it mean to be an American in the year 2026? It means we believe in those ideals of 1776.
Yeah, it's time for me to go to bed.
That the best person gets
How
the
much more
job
do I got?
regardless of their
your skin color. That you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions.
Oh, damn it. Come on for 5 more minutes.
And I say this as the proud son of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law, and that is why we have sealed the southern border, and we will not apologize for it. Because a nation without borders is not a nation. Reagan understood this. He famously said, you could go to Italy, but you would never be an Italian. You could move to Germany, but you would never be a German. You could pack your bags and live the rest of your life in China or Japan. You would never be Chinese or Japanese. But you can come from any one of those countries to the United States of America, and you can still be an American, so long as you pledge allegiance to the ideals in that crown. So long-
There was some ignorant remarks he made here, just saying.
As you work hard, you play by the rules, you make your contributions, obtain your citizenship, you are every bit an American as somebody who descended from the Mayflower. It is called the American dream for a reason. There is no Canadian dream. There is no British dream. It sounds kind of goofy to say it. There's no Chinese dream. Okay, it is the American dream that makes American exceptionalism possible. And the answer of what it means to be a conservative, this is what it's up to us to answer. It is a fork in the road for the future of the conservative movement right now. What does it mean to be a conservative? It means we conserve those ideals that define our country. And now is a moment, a time for choosing in the future of our conservative movement. If you believe in racial quotas and government hiring, you have no place in the conservative movement. Sorry, you're not on the team. You're free to believe it. It's a free country, but you have no place in the conservative movement.
You don't.
If you believe in normalizing hatred towards any ethnic group, toward whites, towards blacks, towards Hispanics, towards Jews, towards Indians, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. Period. And I will not apologize for that. I will not hedge when I say it. If you believe
Even though it's white nationalism.
Online commentator Nick Fuentes, if you believe that Hitler was pretty fucking cool, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. You can debate foreign aid to Israel all you want. That's fine. That's fair. But you have no place with that level of hatred. You can debate the right resolution of the Russia-Ukraine war, but if you believe Joseph Stalin is someone to look up to, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. If you call Usha Vance, the second lady of the United States of America, a cheat, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. And if you can't say those things without stuttering, then you have no place as a leader at any level in the conservative movement either. Certainly not in my state of Ohio.
Now that last shot was towards J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
He said, if you can't say that without stuttering, because J.D. Vance did that whole speech about it's okay to be white, but made no mention of his own wife who's an Indian. Now, he's upset because if you guys don't know, Nick Fuentes had called Usha Vance a Jeet. I didn't even know what the hell a Jeet was. But what I find very funny is that now that he's being attacked as an Indian, he's feeling away. But let's not forget the interview that he did with Ann Coulter earlier this year.
Oh,
and
Lord.
let's watch his reaction when Ann Coulter was punching down on black folks, how Vivek giggled. Like he thought it was funny until she turned around and also called him out for being an Indian. So let me go ahead and refresh y'all's memory, because we talked about this a few months ago.
Ann Coulter. So, Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was
But you see how he laughed and how he chuckled? He thought it was funny when he thought she was just going to lay in on the American black people.
great opening segment. Lots of things
This
to talk about there.
racist
Oh, and I
bitch.
agreed with many
And
things you said
culture.
during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you're running for president. But
You know what? I'm going to end this right here.
Because you're in.
I'm going to go ahead and end there. Good time to end it. See y'all later. Peace.